Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وبه قال حدثنا إبراهيم بن موسى الرازي قال حدثنا عيسى قال حدثنا مسأل مقدام ابن شريح عن أبي قال قلت لعائشة بأي شيء كان يبدأ رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا دخل بيته قال بالسواك. Narrator says Aisha to Aisha radiallahu anha, but which thing Nabi Karim would start when he would enter his house? He said with the miswak. Alright, with the miswak. Okay, so this hadith actually is nothing more to explain there. But maybe last week there was one in the above sanad there was something that we must out, right? Qala Abu Dawood, Rawai ibn Fulayl and Hussein. Hussein came in the sanad above, right? His student's name was Hushaym, right? So Imam Abu Dawud Rahmanullah says, just as Hushaym is narrating from Hussein, likewise Muhammad bin Fudayl is also narrating from Hushaym. Yeah, from Hussein. Just as Hushaym is narrating from Hussein, Muhammad ibn Fudayl is also narrating from Hussein, right? The difference is that in Hushaym's riwayat, it comes there, hatta qaraba yaqtima surah aw khatama, there's doubt there. Whereas in this riwayat here, in Ibn Fudayl's riwayat, hatta khatama surah, there was no doubt there, right? Babu fardil wudu'i, the chapter of the farziyat of wuzu, right? Why do they bring wuzu here before ghusl? Because wuzu happens more than ghusl. You understand it? Right. So the first thing here, what it could mean is that wuzu is faraz. To make wuzu is faraz. You can't make salah without wuzu. And the other is, what it could also mean is, what are the farais of wuzu? Right. So when did wuzu become faraz? So the Jamhur say that wuzu became faraz when salah became faraz. And it is not established that Nabi Akram ever made salah without wuzu, neither in Makkah and neither in Medina. Some say initially wuzu was sunnat and afterwards it became faraz. Now the doubt that comes about that if wuzu was made faraz with salah, but if you look at the ayats of wuzu, it is Madani, it was revealed in Medina. So and salah became faraz before hijrat, right? So the answer to this is that wuzu became faraz with salah. The answer, the ayat of wuzu was revealed later as emphasis only. You understand? As emphasis, right? بيبي قال حدثنا موسى بن إبراهيم قال حدثنا شعبة عن قتادة عن أبي مليح عن أبيه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا يقبل الله صدقة من غلول ولا صلاة بغير طهور. Narrated from Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they said that Allah Ta'ala doesn't accept sadaqah from haram wealth and neither salah without cleanliness, right? Without wuzu. Ghulul actually means what is famous is known that it is stealing from the booty, wealth of the booty, right? And some say it means general cheating or stealing. So what they actually showing here is that if you're not allowed to, if stealing from booty is haram, then to a greater extent stealing somebody else's wealth is haram, because in the booty you've got the share. In the booty you've got the share, but in somebody else's wealth you've got absolutely no share there, right? Salat is not accepted without wuzu, right? So salat here in general means will include salatul janaza and sajai tilawat, right? So Imam Arba says you need wuzu also for salatul janaza and sajai tilawat. Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi says salatul janaza you need wuzu, sajai tilawat he says you don't need wuzu. And taharat is of two types. One is taharat anil hadath and taharat anil khabath. Right? Both is necessary for the validity of salah. You understand? You need to be cleansed. You need to be in a state of wuzu. And there must be no najis on your body or your clothes, right? Taharat anil hadath, there's no ikhtilaf there. However, when it comes to taharat anil khabath, in other words, najasat being on the Imam Malik rahmatullah, what he says that the body of the musalli and the clothes of the musalli to having it being park is one cause of he says sunnat and other cause says wajib. It's not a shart like how we say it's a shart of salah. What is the meaning of qabulia, right? Right? What does it mean, right? Because it also comes in the hadith there that the person who drinks wine, right, his salah is not accepted. However, his salah is done. His salah will be done, but it's not accepted. And in another hadith, it says, "La yaqbalullahu salata haizin illa bi khimarin." That Allah Ta'ala doesn't accept the salat of a baligha female except with her head covered, right? So what they say, kubul has two meanings, right? One is kawnu shay bihaythu yatarattabu alayhi al-radha'u was-sawab. The thing being in such a way that the happiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and reward is sequenced upon it. So that's the one meaning. And the second meaning is kawnu shay mustajmi'an li sharaiti. The thing has been such that it gathers all the conditions and the arkans. The sharaiti wal arkan. You understand? So in other words, Kabulia has now two meanings. One is that it's done, but you're not going to get reward. And the other is that it's done and you get reward. Both meanings come under Kabul as it's used in the hadith. Then you get a masala of the one, what is called faqirut tahurain, right? The person who doesn't, cannot find neither water, neither sand to make the tayammum, right? So, what must he do now in the time of salah is there? Imam Malik rahmatullah says, because he is now not ahl to do salah, he drops off. So when the salah drops off, then he doesn't even have to make qaza. Imam Shafi rahmatullah, his mashhur qawl is that he must make salah, it's wajib for him to make salah without wuzu, and afterwards when he gets water, he must make wuzu and make the qaza of that. And he takes إِذَا أَمَرْتُكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ فَفْعَلُوا مِنْهُ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. When I order you something, then do it to your ability, right? And then Imam Ahmad rahmatullah says he must make salah in his present state, right? And he doesn't have to make qaza even afterwards, but he must make salah in the present state without wuzu. Ahnaf says he don't make salah now, he just makes qaza afterwards. Just make qaza afterwards, right? Let's see. Nevertheless, now, when it comes now, where you got access to water, right? Now, and then you go make salah without wuzu, Imam Nawawi says that the ummah's ijma is upon this, that intentionally making salah without wuzu is haram, whether it's faraz or nafil salah you are making. If a person intentionally makes salah without wuzu, then the Jamhur says that he'll be a sinner. However, he won't be declared as a kafir. Imam Bani Rahmullah say he will be declared as a kafir. However, that is now when he deems it insignificant. He deems it insignificant. Right. وبه قال حدثنا أحمد بن محمد بن حمل قال حدثنا عبد الرزاق الأخبر معمر بن همام بن منبه عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله لا يقبل الله تعالى صلاة أحدكم إذا أحدث حتى توضأ. Narrated from Abu Hurairah said Nabi Akram says that Allah Ta'ala does not accept the salah of one of you when he breaks his wuzu until he makes wuzu. Until he makes wuzu. Right. So from here also you understand the masalatul bina. Jamhur are not kind of bina. What's bina? When you break your wuzu in between in the salah, you go quickly make wuzu and continue where you left off. Jamhur say you can't do this, you start afresh. Hanaf also say it's better to start fresh, but they say masarul bina nevertheless is permissible. You can carry on, but condition is now obviously you have to follow all the rules got to do with bina. Right. وبيقول حدثنا عثمان بن ابي شيبه حدثنا وكيع سفيان عن ابن عقيل عن محمد بن حنفية عن علي رضي الله قال رسول الله مفتاح الصلاة الطهور وتحريمها التكبير وتحليلها التسليم. Narrate from Muhammad ibn Hanafi from Ali radiallahu anhu, Nabi Akram says the key to salah is cleansing, right? Is being clean, and it's the things that makes and the tahrim of salah. In other words, what takes you into the hurmat of salah is the takbir tahrima, and what takes you out of salah is taslim, right? Right. So just as a key, you need a key to get into anywhere, okay, get into the box. Likewise, you need the key which is wuzu to get into salah. And just as if you don't have a key, you can't get into the house. Likewise, if you don't have wuzu, you can't reach salah. Right. Now they come to the masala of the niyat fil wudu, right? Because now the hadith is just saying miftahu salati at-tuhuru. That will be proof for Ahnaf, who says you don't need it, right? Jamhur says innamal a'malu bin niyat, niyat in wudu is farz. Ahnaf says no, right? And Ahnaf say wudu has two aspects to it. One is from the aspect that it's an ibadat, and one is from the aspect that it is a key to salah, right? If you look at the hadith innamal a'malu bin niyat, then you need niyat will be necessary. However, for it being a key to salah, then it's not pending on a niyat. So a person who makes wuzu without niyat, like for example, he dives in a sea or something, and all his limbs are washed, then that he has got the key to salah, right? But he's not going to get any reward for that. The reward of wuzu that a person should get, he won't get that because he had no niyat, right? Then you come now to tahrimuha at-takbir. So what it means is that those things which are haram in salat, and what is the cause of making it haram? That takbir tahrima. When you say that takbir tahrima, you now go into the mode of salah, and now those things which are haram in salah, you can't do it, right? Meaning that the method of entering into the hurmat of salah is takbir, right? Then tahliluha at-taslim. And then this hadith now shows that the method of exiting the salah is taslim. Aimai Arba says that takbir tahrima is faras. However, now they say, is it a rukn of salah or a shart of salah? Aimai Salasa say it's a rukn. Ahnaf say it's a shart. You understand the difference? A rukn, what is a rukn? What's the difference between a rukn and a shart? A rukn is something that's inside, part and parcel of the thing. And a shart is something that needs to be done before. Like your clothes need to be clean. That's a shart of salah. The place where you read salah needs to be clean. That's a shart of salah, right? The Hanafiya's dalil is وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. And he took the name of his Rabb, then he recited salah. That's five for ta'aqib. So in other words, first you said Allahu Akbar, and now you're only entering into salah. So that shows a shart, right? The other masla here is that can the takbir tahrima be fulfilled without takbir, right? So tarafain, that is Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Muhammad says, all those words which refer to the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it indicates to the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is not used as a dua, right? That will suffice for takbir tahrima. So you say Allahu Ajal, Allahu Azam, Ya Ar-Rahmanu Ajal, La ilaha illallah, Subhanallah. You can start with this, right? You can start with this. So therefore, just taking the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will suffice as takbir tahrima. However, to say Allahu Akbar, right? It is wajib. And to start now without saying Allahu Akbar, it is makruh tahrimi. But it will still take you into salah. You understand it? Right. However, the other Imam Salahs, right? Imam Malik and Imam Ahmad Rahmallah says, they say you can only say Allahu Akbar. Imam Shafi'i says you can say Allahu Akbar, Allahul Akbar, right? And Imam Yusuf Rahmallah says you can say Allahu Akbar, Allahul Akbar, Allahu Kabir, Allahul Kabir. Right. Now when you're coming to Taslim, right? So Imam Salah says, just as Takbir Tahrima is for us, likewise Salam is for us. And without saying Salam, you won't be able to exit the Salah. Ahnaf say Salam is wajib. Salam is wajib and not for us, right? Right. Jamhur's dalil is that if whatever applies to the Mustad will apply to the Mustad ilay. So when they both are and they both are marifa, then that will give the faida that it is only for that. In other words, you can only do it with us. In other words, you can only make tahleel of salah wa taslim. You can only make tahleel of salah wa taslim. That's what the hadith tells us there, right? And what do we say? We give a usuli answer. Is that what a khabre wahid, a faraz cannot be established, right? And when it comes to the takbir tahrima, so that is established with the ayat. وَذْكُرِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ فَصَلَّى, right? And then we also say, some say this hadith is because of the Rawi Ibn Aqil in there, the hadith is weak. And it's famous that there is doubt regarding Ibn Aqil. And then we also say that even the Rawi of the hadith, Ali radiallahu anhu, he is not qail of this. And he says, إِذَا رَفَعَ رَأْسَهُ مِنْ آخِرِ السَّجْدَةِ فَقَدْ تَمَّتْ صَلَاتُهُ. When he raises his head from the last sajda, then his salah is complete. Then Jamhur, now they have ikhtilaf in this here now. That is both salams for us or one salam. Imam Shafi'i says the first salam is for us, the second one is sunnah. And Imam Ahmad Rahmi says both is for us. And we say there's two calls of us. One is that the first salam is wajib, both are wajib, and the other call is that first salam is wajib, second one is sunnah. That is what is the mashhur call according to us. First salam is wajib, second one is sunnah. Imam Malik Rahmanullah says there's only one salam. He only says you must make one salam. So that is the salam that will be faraz. Right. There is one Rawi in this particular hadith, Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah. Right. So, Banu Hanifaya, right? He was a tribe in Yamama. As Abu Bakr in the fitna of when the people became murtad, he fought against the people of Yamama and he conquered Yamama, right? And then from there, there was a woman that was imprisoned, right? Hanafiya, right? She was imprisoned, right? And he gave her to Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu. And then Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu got a son from her who became this Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah, right? And Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu asked Nabi Akram in the past that after you pass away, if I get a son, can I name him with your name and your title? So Nabi Akram gave permission. Therefore, he named him Muhammad, and he gave his title also Abul Qasim. Right. Babu Rajuli. Yujadidul wudu'a min ghairi hadasin. The chapter of a man who renews the wuzu without hadas. Right. So this is the heading now. So Jamhur says that when you make wuzu, then your wuzu is valid. And then the next salah comes, you don't have to make wuzu again. But tajid, to renew your wuzu, is mustahab. Right? It's mustahab. Right. However, when can you renew? When can you make one wuzu, then after that you make a second wuzu? Imam Nawawi rahmatullah, he's got 4 calls there, right? One is, the first call is that with the first wuzu, you made some ibadat of faraz or nafil. The second is you made a faraz ibadat. The third is you made some ibadat which is not permissible without wuzu. For example, you touched the Quran, you made sijad tilawat. Right, and the fourth goal is there was a period elapsed between the two. Some time passed between the two wuzus, right? And Ahnaf says that you made some ibadat with it, right? Or you changed your majlis, you went into another majlis, then that would also allow you to make a second wuzu. But if you're just sitting in the same place, you made one wuzu now, you say, okay, wuzu gives you lots of reward, I'm going to start the second wuzu. You're still sitting there. Now, then that's amounting to wastage of water. You understand it? You need to make some ibadat or so with it, right? وبيقول حدثنا محمد بن يحيى بن فارس يقول حدثنا عبد الله بن يزيد المقري وحدثنا مسدد قال حدثنا عيسى بن يونس قال حدثنا عبد الرحمن بن زياد قال ابو داود وانا لحديث ابن يحيى اثبت عن غطيف وقال محمد انا ابي غطيف الهذلي قال كنت عند ابن عمر فلما نودي بالظهر توضا فصلى فلما نودي بالعصر توضا فقلت له فقال كان رسول الله يقول من توضا على طهر كتب له 10 حسنات قال ابو داود وهذا حديث مسدد وهو اتم. Right, so Imam Abu Dawud says here now, she's got 2 stars, Muhammad ibn Yahya and Musaddad, right? So he said, I'm memorizing Muhammad ibn Yahya's hadith more, right? But nevertheless, then he got from Hutayf, right? Then he got from Hutayf, and Muhammad ibn Yahya, وقال Muhammad, أنا أبي Hutayf al-Huzali. So Muhammad ibn Yahya is saying, Abi Hutayf al-Huzali, and the other Musaddad is saying, An Hutayf, right? Right. Then he says, I was by Ibn Umar, when Azan was given for Zohar, he made wuzu, then he recited Salah. Then when Azan was given for Asr, he made wuzu. So I said to him, so he said, Nabi Akram said, whoever makes wuzu upon cleanliness, 10 rewards will be written for him. Imam Abu Dawud Rahman says, and the hadith of Musaddad is more stronger, right? It's more atam, right? So if you look at this hadith here now, Abdul Rahman is multaqastadadain. You look at it, Hadithna ibn قال حدثنا عبد الرحمن بن زياد. That's where it both joins up, right? Then some say An Hutayf, and the others say Abu Hutayf. So who's this Rawi now? They say he's majhul now, and therefore this hadith is now weak because there's a majhul Rawi in there. Leave it till there.